Good evening. Welcome to the Hangout, all things arts and crafts with Susan Hyder. And tonight we have Nadia Bruce, and we're excited. I'm excited about her art, and we just got her into the Music and Arts Festival, so she's going to be there. I don't know when and what time, but Rick will schedule you sometime.
Great.
Unless you end up being there the whole time, I don't know. I'm going to be there the whole time. Gabe with Powerhouse Studios, he's going to be there the whole time.
Hello.
He's over here doing our magic. We have the Hanger Honors on Facebook, and then we are on Tuned In TN, which is where our YouTube is at. If you have an email for me, susan@tunedinradio.us, and on the radio, which you guys are listening to live, studio@tunedinradio.us, and that's during the week, and our special shows, the morning show, afternoon and evening show. You can get live requests, or you can put requests in and they'll get played as soon as somebody gets them lined up in there. The Tuned In Radio Music and Arts Festival, June 11 to 13. So we're close to only a month away. We have the mini quilt contest, and so start making your quilts, everybody. They got to be less than 100 inches circumference, so you could do them long and skinny, tall and different sizes. But Beth Spencer will be here next week as our guest on May 10th and talk about the Tuned In Radio Music and Arts Festival mini quilt contest. So that is great. The Museum Center is open for partial hours, Tuesday 10 to 4, Friday 10 to 4, and Saturday 11 to 3. They are having some art come up, and that will be Friday at 11 and Saturday at 11 with Vincent Mancini, and he will be our guest in 2 weeks. And he's going to talk to us about his art and his art journey, and he is older than me. I don't know if he'll let me tell everybody how old he is, but he's older than me by quite a few years. But he is teaching pencil and ink and possibly watercolor, and right now the classes are about an hour and a half, Fridays and Saturdays, every Friday and Saturday, he said, for a while. And right now it's $10, and that includes all the supplies.
Oh.
So that is nothing.
No,
because those of us who are artists know how much ink and all that stuff. So pencil and ink to start, and if his students progress, he's going to add the watercolor in. And he says you need to call the museum to line up your class to make sure that he doesn't have too many students, and if he has some that are coming just Friday or just Saturday, they'll make sure they get you in there if you want to do this. So that's the Friday and Saturday art with Vincent Mancini. And the Thursday, the AR workshop has Thursday at 5:30 to 7, happy hour workshop, and then they have something again, I think it was on Friday or Saturday. But the happy hour workshop, 1.5 hours, and that's one of those that you get to do some signs and stuff. And they also still have the private parties. So you could, for a birthday party, have people go in and paint. Remember the Art is Here partnership. Join the registry. Art is Here partnership on Facebook, and you go in and you put in there your art. And it's a registry so that people can look up. So if you're looking for a photographer like Gabe, look in there and find his name. If he's signed up, since I've told him every week for...
I signed up the second time you told me about it.
Well, good. And then also Saturday, this one we were trying to figure out, I don't eat sugar, so Wanda and I were trying to figure out if I really wanted to go to this, but Saturday at 4, Mother's Day cookie decorating class, and the Sweets by Michelle, she's going to be there, but it's going to be at the press. So I imagine they're going to have sweets and wine.
Ooh.
At the press. Now, they said the cookie decorating class had no charge, but I bet they want you to buy, a cheese, what do they call them things, the cheese things? The fancy French.
Charcuterie boards.
Yeah, I never can say that word, so I'll let her say that. She said it just right. Or the wine or whatever, but the cookie class, learning how to decorate the cookies, is a free class by Sweet Spot Michelle.
Maybe she can have some sugar-free ones in there for you.
Well, I don't even eat the sugar-free ones unless they're like totally no sugar, no artificial. Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha.
I went off sugar in 2017.
Oh.
So that could be what's wrong with me. While I'm tired, I have no energy. No. I have I'm going to go ahead and do the weekly wine cork. And we're going to do that both half shows just because I want to. But this is the weekly craft tip, and we're still doing the wine cork crafts. And this is a continuation, and then these are little angels. Is that good right there? These are little angels with wine corks, and then you get a cork. They have these cork balls, and they carve these wings either out of the cork, or you can buy ready-made wings. So you have little angel ornaments for trees. So that's another thing that you can do with the wine cork. I think this might last all year because I can't get to the end of these. We've had like 3 birdhouses and 2 flower pots, and we've had a lot of stuff, haven't we, Gabe?
Yeah, you know how much wine that's taken to drink?
Well, which one are you trying to build? All the birdhouses or something?
Every craft show or every craft tip that you give, I've been drinking a bottle of wine just to make so I can have more corks.
Oh, such a burden.
Well, I did tell you we're going to get that 5-gallon bucket of corks over in Murphy.
Yeah, well, I have to stop buying boxed wine and then I'll get into bottles.
Find the smallest bottles with corks you can get, and you have less to drink.
It's such a pitiful thing.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they know why I grab the corks when we go to things like at the museum. Sometimes has wine. Mm-hmm. Can I have the corks? They say you don't even drink. I said, well, I don't drink and drive, and that much I can't drive. So yeah, we don't. So we're going to do a little bit of a new format, I guess you'd say. And we are going to go live radio, but we're going to record the YouTube so Gabe can take out all my whatever. Or he's going to add, I bet he's going to add some of those sound effects too.
Yep.
Yep, I figured that. I figured that was going to happen.
Little
cartoons, whatever. He's going to make it a little bit more fun to watch, and we're going to do 2 half-hour spots. So instead of the 1 hour long live YouTube, we're going to be recorded on YouTube and live on the radio. So you can listen to us twice. Well, as many times as you want, because it'll be on YouTube and you can keep going back and listen.
There you go.
Right? That's good. And we're doing it tonight, so we didn't warn anybody. So if anybody gets, text me if you have a question. One will text me in a minute here, I think.
What's going on?
Unless she got so tired she went home, because we wore her out at the shop today. And we have Nadia Bruce. And the first question I always ask every artist is, how did you get into your art? And when I said that to Vincent, he says, oh my goodness, we could go 30 minutes just with that. And I said, well, we can do that just fine, and then show your art, and it'll work out just fine. Okay, he said, yeah, I was 5 years old and I'm way old. And he told me how old he was. He may tell us when he comes, but I'm going to leave that for him. But he said he started when he was 5 and he's way old. That was his words. So Nadia,
Yes.
How did you get into your art? Did you start at 5 years old maybe?
I've always been a very creative, crafty person. I was blessed to have a mother that supported me in any kind of craft. She taught us a lot of the traditional crafts, sewing, knitting. And she still does those. I still do them.
She's a quilter, came in, that's probably where I met you, was at the shop, right?
Yeah. I came in to find fabric, and I found a network of new friends instead. But yeah, I've always been very creative, but a little scattered with what I'm focusing on. And drawing and painting was something that I didn't really start focusing on until I was much older. Even though, I did art. I was in art club in high school. I worked in the theater on the set crew because I liked creating the stuff. I didn't want to be on stage.
You didn't want to be on stage.
But yeah.
Surprise, you're on stage tonight.
Apparently. So, I did what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to college and get a job that gives you a salary. So I went to college. I have a degree in psychology with a minor in business. And then I ended up sticking in a corporate job for 10 years.
So you didn't use that degree?
A psychology degree is always useful.
Yeah, especially in corporate atmospheres.
Yeah, I focused on...
Did you do maybe HR or something?
That's what I thought I was going to do, but I worked at a small bank while I was in college, and instead of going out and finding a new career, I stayed with that company and just went up the ladder. I ended up doing investment portfolio banking. It was very boring and honestly soul-sucking. For a creative to have to sit and crunch numbers all day and work on spreadsheets.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah, but...
It was bad enough getting my taxes done by now. We had a whole extra month, and it was bad enough me doing that.
The benefit to a corporate job was you can leave it at the office. So as I could unplug and not think about it, and all of my evenings and weekends were my real life. And so I was always doing something crafty.
Unless you're my wife.
Oh, is that so?
She can't leave her...
Does she bring it home?
Oh, yeah. She works from home most of the time.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I did end up working from home at the tail end of that career, which was, I think, part of the reason it got so bad. When you bring it home, it gets so much more stressful. And but I think the real clincher that brought me back to art was I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer in 2013, and I had to have several surgeries. I had like an egg-sized tumor in my neck that was hiding in there. You could barely even see it from the outside.
Wow.
Lord knows how long it was growing in there, but they found it, and it took a little over a year to do all the radiation and treatments and things, but I'm cancer-free.
Yay. Yay.
Going through any kind of hard medical problem, and especially cancer, it changes your perspective. I'm missing an important organ, and I have to take medication to survive, but it puts a lot in perspective. And it didn't, I'd probably say about 3 or 4 years after that, I was doing more and more art, and on the side, I started posting it on Instagram, and for fun. It was just my sketchbook at the time, but the response was surprising that people liked this. Oh, maybe I could do something with this. And so it slowly grew. I got some local things while I was living in Raleigh, North Carolina, putting my art at small businesses, a couple little shows, and then selling things on my Etsy store. I'd sell my prints there. It took me a while to learn to sell my originals. I'm very possessive of them.
So you sell prints for sure, but your originals are hard.
I have started.
Yeah.
Sending the originals off is bittersweet, but I think anyone that really values, handmade art, and real art, they want the original. They want to see the brushstrokes. They want to know it's unique, and I understand that. So I will let my babies go.
Well, that's the hard thing about selling quilts. Even the ones that are I've commissioned, plain old T-shirt quilts. Every one of them, I feel like part of me's going with that, and I can't imagine if I painted one of these, I would have a really hard time selling an art picture. I understand that completely.
Yeah, when you've created something that you're so proud of, even if you've improved since you've made an old piece, you remember how proud you were of that piece at the time.
Yeah,
it brings those endorphins back to you, like, I made this.
I remember my first quilt that I sold, and it was a cathedral window, which those are quilters that will understand what that is. And I sold it way back when for $300. And way back when, that was a lot of money. And it was a full size, but it was when I was in my late teens. So that tells you it's been a while. So, and I still miss it. And I wonder what happened to it. And, you know, I know the guy that bought it was really into quilts and stuff, or I don't think I could have sold it.
It's an interesting, when you're selling art or selling, your creations, wondering what they're doing. Is this appreciated the way I would have appreciated it? You just have to have faith that it is.
Yeah.
If someone was willing to spend their hard-earned money on an artisan creation, that they know what they're getting. They didn't go to IKEA and buy a quilt or a painting.
Right.
They went to
You or me, and got what
an
they
artist,
wanted.
the
Yes.
real artist. So yeah.
Yes. So I have about 1 million questions. Well, the first question I want to ask is, any of the skin art that you have, any of yours?
Yes and no. Most of these tattoos are from the same artist, a guy in North Carolina, but I will go to him with a concept and my sketch, but I want him to put his art on, or any tattoo artist. There's the medium is so much different than paper, and something that you would be able to draw with pencil or pen on paper doesn't always translate to being able to be put on skin. So you go to the expert, same you would do any commission. You go to the tattoo artist and you say, I have this idea for this tarot cat, and these are the elements I want in it, and I kind of sketched out, what I wanted, and he
went with it.
Yeah, he comes back and he does it in his style, and I know that I'm going to a true artist. I know whatever he makes for me is going to be amazing. So yeah, you have trust in your artist. But yeah, the concepts are mine, the art is someone else's.
Okay. Well, I just wondered because I saw bits and pieces sometimes when you came in the shop, and I was just wondering about that.
Yeah, I started collecting body art when I was like 25. I waited until I was older. I had to, I grew up in a strict Christian household, and you're not supposed to put marks on God's temple. But I find that I love this art, and I get to carry it around with me everywhere, and I don't see any harm in decorating the canvas.
No,
But
just as long as it's not metal.
Do what?
Just as long as it's not a lot of metal.
Oh, like super piercings and dermals and things. I admit I have some piercings, but with ears and noses and
Well,
things.
that's okay.
But these that
It's just that
have
when you get these, like,
15 across the forehead.
15 across the forehead, or the lumps in the forehead underneath the skin and make them look like a dragon or something, it's like, okay, that's a little bit more than much,
They're getting to express themselves a lot. Hey, different strokes for different folks, right?
Yeah.
And then those of us who are allergic to just about everything that we've ever tried.
Well, I found out that I'm allergic to the red ink.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty rare, actually.
It doesn't stay on my skin. I mean, my red cross here is half faded out, it's gone. And that was the last portion of it to heal when I got it done.
Well, I'm afraid I'd be allergic to the ink because I tried for 3 years to keep a belly button ring. And the ER doctor changed out. We tried every substance that we could find.
Mm-hmm.
Platinum.
Kathy's the same way. She has a hard time with
Yeah.
piercings and stuff,
Body
like her
just
pierced
rejects
ears
it.
and stuff. Her body
Yeah.
just rejects it.
Yeah, it never healed in 3 years. And it wasn't that it was infected because it was put in by the ER doctor under aseptic technique. And
There's also an art to piercing. If the piercer isn't using the right techniques or the right needles, they could create a wound that will always be trying to heal versus
he
one
had, let me see,
that will
how many people
heal.
in the ER, just about every ER nurse, about 25 or 30, and I was the only one that didn't heal. And he used the same technique, and of course I have a lot of medication
Allergies
allergies and
Yeah, that sounds likely.
chocolate, and so I'm
that
afraid to
doesn't
do
help.
a tattoo.
That doesn't help if
They
you've got
make
a lot of
wonderful like stick-on tattoos now that look so real.
I might
Really,
try it,
they'll
but
last. They last for like 6 to 8 weeks, and then they
heaven help me,
slowly
though, if I'm
fade.
allergic in that 6 to 8 weeks, I can see what
Yeah,
my
we'll start
skin-
with a tiny one.
And if you really want to fake it, you can always go online and buy those sleeves that you can put on your arms.
I might try that.
fabric
Maybe I'll do that.
ones, yeah.
Maybe I'll get some of those sleeves for the art and music festival and get some of those sleeves and wear
Well,
those.
if you want some, I got some if you want to try them.
There you go. Try it
Well,
out
thanks,
for a day.
Kay. So, the other question is, what is your favorite medium? Because you said you do a lot.
Yeah, my favorite medium is still ink. I really love inkwell and nib. There's just something so satisfying of drawing that old-fashioned way,
Explain
dipping.
to people who don't know what
Oh,
those are.
The ink would be, in a jar, and a nib pen is usually just a stick with the little metal tips in different shapes and sizes. Think like a fancy calligraphy pen or a, I don't know what, the big feather pens.
Right.
It has
That little tip in it.
different metal tips to get the different effects, the different shaped lines.
So how many tips do you have?
I have jars, but I tend to stick to only a few. Very fine detail. I really like doing
Intricate.
Yeah, intricate micro drawings. If I'm gonna do a big splash of color, I'll dip my paintbrush in the inkwell and paint it instead. I really like high contrast art, so a deep black. And I found when I was starting to do
That's
my
why you like
drawing-
that quilt.
Yeah.
You like contrast.
I really like high contrast, and you'll see that when I show you some of my pieces. But I ended up with ink and like latex inks because they're pure. You get a real pure black, and you can get an even coating of black. Whereas early on in my drawing, I was using a lot of art markers and even Sharpies to try to get that smooth, pure black, and you can always see the strokes, and so trial and error, I found ink. But now I branch out into tons of colors and things. I'll add a pop of color, or I'll have a rainbow piece, but I always fall back to just black ink on white paper.
And then she has colors in with it.
Yeah, in the last year, I think I've done more ink and watercolor pieces because I like learning new things, and I wasn't very good at watercolor, and I wanted to improve, so I practiced.
Well, I did okay on the one watercolor I did. On the one
Watercolor
class.
is a beast. It's hard. It's not like any other paint.
Well,
We're
I
here
went to a
today at
class and I
Nubby's
did
Blue
okay.
Collar
They could tell it
Barbecue.
was
Tell
a
me,
bird.
sir, can you describe the flavor of Nubby's brisket? Perhaps you, madam, tell us what it's like to eat here at Nubby's. Ma'am? How about you, young man? Well, there you have it. There are no words to describe the smoky deliciousness of Nubby's Blue Collar Barbecue.
Nubby's Blue Collar Barbecue is a mobile operation, and you can catch us on Wednesdays from 2 p.m. to 6 in the Tractor Supply parking lot. And we're available for catering any event from corporate to weddings to parties of any kind. To keep up with our scheduling from week to week or to hook up with some catering, just give us a call at 423-635-1630. That's 423-635-1630. Or heck, just find us on Facebook. Nubby's Blue Collar Barbecue. It's
There you go.
I was happy with that. So that's your favorite. What is the hardest thing you've ever done as far as art?
As far as art, I think like photorealism is still something I'm striving for. I would love to be able to really capture someone's likeness like a photograph, and I think it's obviously attainable to anyone with practice, but a lot of my art is illustrative.
Me.
And
Stick figures, that's it.
yeah, I do love to draw from reference. Probably half of my art is drawn from reference, but I always take an impressionistic view or an illustrative view, so that for the ease of it, you know. And so yeah, I would love to advance to a photorealism stage. I think that would be really fun.
Well, we're getting to the end of the first half, and with our new, we got a couple more minutes.
Yeah, we got 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. Okay. Well, you said 28, and I'm trying to do what the producer wants. We're trying to work out all the bugs on the new format, and hopefully it's going to work out good.
Why don't we show couple of her drawings now, and then we can.
And then we're going to come back after on the second half and look at the rest. But we're going to look at this.
And we can also ask more questions.
Yeah.
Say this is an early piece that I did.
Early piece.
A pen and ink, just ink on paper. I think this one is a micron pen, not the nib pen.
So micron pen, some of those in quilting are familiar with those. That's what you use to either draw on fabric or make your labels for the back of your quilt.
Yeah, because it's a good permanent ink. They have tons of colors. I use black, but I have a lot of cabins in my repertoire. There's something about old abandoned buildings that gives me the the endorphins, and especially creepy cabins in the woods. And this was one of my favorites that I've done.
So is this from your
this
your
one
brain, or is this from a picture?
This was a photograph
Okay.
that I didn't have the time. These pieces take many hours.
Oh yeah,
Probably 30 or 40 hours.
probably take me longer than that.
Over a long period.
Of course, I would probably rot it up and throw it away and start over.
Yeah. But
Oh,
use the
gosh.
really fine, like the 0.005 millimeter pens, and just go to town.
Can you see how intricate on there it is?
Well,
Yes.
through the camera, it looks like a picture, like somebody photographed shot.
So we can't see the little lines.
But yeah, it's all
Can we
Pointillism
go
and scribbling
close
and
in? Director. There he goes. He's going to go close in so we can see the little lines.
It's like,
Is that just not amazing?
when
To
you
me,
when you
that
go up
is
real
amazing.
close, yeah, you can see it's just scribbles and sketch marks and dots. But yeah, when you pull back and it creates an image, it's really fun.
Yeah. So we pulled back now? Yeah, it does. It's a beautiful, and it's all just black and the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And the paper looks like it might be a little bit ivory, or is that just because it's aged a little bit?
It probably was a little bit ivory.
It's not a bright white, it's an ivory.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. Let's put that over here without me hitting the microphone. And let me think of one more question. You have a question? You have a question of her? Do you have prints of everything?
Yes, I do.
So if somebody sees a print, they can get a print from you.
Yeah, pretty much all of them are on my Etsy page. If they're not there,
Okay, tell us your Etsy page.
it's Studio at RavenHill, because Lady RavenHill is my online persona. So everything's RavenHill this, RavenHill that. But yeah, Etsy, Studio at RavenHill has all my prints. It also has coloring book pages where I've scanned the line art before I do detail or color, and then you can, finish the piece.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Prints and things. I also, some of the art, if it applies to the medium, Society 6 is a website where you can put your media onto products. So bags and t-shirts and stickers and things. So if I draw something small or I draw something that fits those mediums, I'll put them over on that site too.
So Studio 6 that's that one, I think somebody else has already talked about
Society
that
6.
before.
Yeah, it's a really nice website for artists to have a unified place to get their art on lots of products. And Society 6 does all the production and shipping. The artist just has to provide the media.
Okay. Well, we will be back shortly after we rest a minute and
Station identification.
Gabe does his magic over there, and then we will be back.